Well, here we go. Amazon Project Cloud Tempo has come out of the dark basement, out of the closet to announce that their new cloud gaming platform, Luna, is going to be on its way here. And wow, hang on to your bootstraps. Hang on to your belt. There's a lot of information we're going to pour over, and this is a new contender that is not to be taken lightly. With that, subscribe to this channel as your #1 source for cloud gaming, and I will be covering Luna in its entirety in the future, so hit that notification bell as well as smash that like button so we find more cloud gamers out there. But let's go ahead and start with the information that has come out today, with Amazon announcing at their hardware event that their new cloud gaming platform is set to launch at some point here in the future, called Luna. We have a lot of details on what this new platform is going to have, starting with a $5.99 a month introductory price in its early access phase. And it's going to be supported across mainland US at the start. No support for Hawaii, Alaska, and the US territories. So guys, this is extremely limited at the moment. Keywords also to keep in mind that it's being rolled out in a beta type phase. It will also be available on Fire TVs, iPhones, iPads, and PC, with Android later down the line. Now immediately, that is extremely eye-popping because no cloud platform is on iOS at all right now. So if this is true, wow, that is pretty big. What is somewhat confusing though is not being on Android, but they stated that the Android version will be available after launch. It also stated that more than 100 games will be available at the early access launch, with games such as Resident Evil 7, Control, Surge 2, Grid, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, Metro Exodus, Overcooked 2, and Ubisoft will also be part of Luna with their own channel, which I'm guessing is some form of a special Uplay Plus, and it will have titles like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Immortals Fenyx Rising, and these are going to be same day release days, meaning this service is definitely going to be rolled out more here in the coming weeks and months. And all of this is being powered by AWS's Amazon Web Service cloud technology, and the games will have 1080p 60 FPS at the base point, with select games having 4K 60 FPS down the line. It will also only take 10 megabits per second of internet, with 4K requiring 35. There will also be a dedicated Luna controller that will directly connect to your internet and the Amazon server, so latency will be reduced. But if you don't want to pick up that dedicated controller, you can use Bluetooth with Xbox and PS4 controllers. The dedicated controller will be playable with the Fire TV, PC, and Mac, and it will make it easier to switch between screens. The controller also does have a dedicated Alexa button as well. So if all of that sounds familiar, it should, because it sounds like the Google Stadia controller. Now the price for this controller though is not going to be too pricey at $49.99, which is very nice and very friendly to your wallet. Now the controller itself is not the most visually appealing in my opinion. I literally thought immediately that it looked like just maybe a slightly nicer Nintendo Switch Pro controller, but that's just my opinion, and really I've never cared for how a controller looks visually anyways, but more of how it feels and performs. Luna will also have full dedicated keyboard and mouse support for all of its games, which by the way makes me extremely excited as essentially a keyboard and mouse user. Now Luna will also have full dedicated Twitch integration inside Luna itself. Players will be able to see Twitch streams, and from Twitch you'll be able to play Luna games. No word on if there's any form of direct streaming to Twitch with Luna itself, but I will keep you guys updated if we hear about that. But alright, so most of that is the direct information that's out there at the time of this video. There's actually a lot to unpack with everything here. I have a ton of questions and information is still rolling out right now, but immediately one of my first questions was, how did they get this to work on iOS with all the issues Apple has been giving Stadia, xCloud, GeForce Now, and services like that are familiar? Apparently they got around the restriction by running Luna as a progressive web application that runs on iOS only in the Safari browser without the App Store. So that answered that question, and it's clever, and I'm really happy to see that. Instantly, I have to say though, I'm a bit shocked not to see this running on Android right away, and it feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, like Stadia not being on iOS. This definitely stood out to me right away in general, but for those who have not had access to cloud gaming because they are in the Apple ecosystem, well, now you're about to have a full option here soon. And the next thing we have to talk about is the price. Right away, $5.99 is considered the early access price. It does not look to be the final price of when it's out of that beta phase, but obviously this is really cheap for what you're getting. 100 games, and it's even cheaper than the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate by a decent margin. Now they're calling it the Luna Plus channel that will have those 100 games. There will be a separate channel for Ubisoft that will probably have a separate cost, and I shouldn't say probably because it will, and there's no word on what that price could be or what full list of Ubisoft games you're going to be getting it, and you can tell it's the alternative naming instead of just calling it Uplay Plus. Now, the price to me immediately sticks out to me as well done right off the bat. But of course, is this the model they are going to continue with going forward? Is this going to be a Netflix type of service? Can you own any of your games at all? Will there be any sort of revolving door with any of these titles? Will there be games that leave the service, that stay on the service? Will you always have access to those games? These are all questions that I personally have, as the true intentions of this model are yet to be uncovered outside of you just paying for this monthly fee and you're just getting a ton of games. As for the games though themselves, let's have a chat about that. Right away, having the newest Ubisoft titles is a good thing. The rest of the titles, judging by the pictures that we've been looking at, look to be pretty solid. They also mentioned that they are working with Capcom 505 Games, Team 17, with the hopes of others being added, as in more publishers and developers in the future. My question, of course, Amazon themselves have been making their own games with New World and Crucible. Will those titles be part of the service, and what would those look like? Do they plan on making dedicated cloud games? One of my biggest appeals for Stadia as a guy who uses the platform is the imagination of games being made and run on powerful cloud servers that no high-end gaming computer can actually match. This will be interesting, and this is a question that ties to the overall picture of what is Amazon looking to accomplish with this service. Will it be a dedicated platform, or is it more of a gaming Netflix service? I mean, even in this video, I don't know what to technically call it yet. Another massive thing to know is at the moment the service is going to be pretty limited because no Android devices right away. And the biggest thing here, and something that we should not gloss over, is that it's only going to be in the US, not even North America or anywhere else in the world. Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to expand as time goes on, but this tells me this is truly a service in a full-blown beta early access phase, and not a service that exactly is set to take the world on fire just yet. Maybe just here in the United States, but let's not diminish that either, because a huge chunk of cloud gamers are here in the States. But obviously it's curious to see only one country where this is going to be launched. Overall, let me go ahead and wrap up all my many thoughts, because this is probably going to spread over many videos here in the coming weeks ahead of everything that's coming in terms of its launch, when people will have access and all that good stuff. But I have to say, this is looking to be extremely promising, to the point where this could be a service that people are actually going to get excited for as a cloud service, because it feels as though they are taking some of Stadia's biggest launch flaws and they are going in the complete opposite direction. Now, this video isn't about Stadia, and I'm not worried about Stadia's future. That will be in a separate video, but they are launching Luna at a cheap price. They are slowly rolling people in. The controller is also very cheap, and it's also not required. I'm also fully expecting this service to work really well. This could be what actually xCloud, in my opinion, is supposed to be, but with actually good performance. xCloud brings in tons of games, but it is not a good performing service. I would expect this to be much better, especially with the dedicated controller that plugs directly into their servers with Wi-Fi. The games themselves. So far, we need more information on what other titles, what other publishers are going to be on board. And like I said earlier, is this more like a Stadia, or is this more like xCloud? So far, it looks to be more like xCloud, where it's a Netflix of games. But let's be real, when people who are not familiar with cloud gaming hear about it, they think of cloud gaming being a Netflix type of service. and Amazon might possibly look to fill that hole. All I can imagine is this, guys. The service is working and performing as good as Stadia, but now you have 100 plus games at launch, including new titles like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Immortal Phoenix Rising, and it's all going to be done with just a monthly price. This could potentially be a true competitor, and it has the potential to be the best service out there in terms of everything that you're getting. Once again though, this is all really just a contingent on how well this service is going to perform. And let me reiterate again that this is super limited with only working in the US. So until that changes, there is no way that this can be the all-encompassing cloud platform. It can't take over the world just on that basis alone. In the end, I'm left with a lot of questions that I do hope are going to be answered in the coming weeks, days, months, but to say that I'm not excited as a cloud gamer would be absolutely disingenuous on my part, and it wouldn't be honest, because there is a lot of positives here to look at, guys. With that said, let me know all your thoughts down below. I had way more that I actually wanted to add to this video, but I'm already making this too long. I'll have separate videos in the coming days and weeks. I know some of you might want to know what this means for Stadia or other services like GeForce Now and xCloud. I'm going to have all those thoughts here soon, but my general thought and idea is don't worry. Write down below if you guys think that Luna is something to be excited for. Are you guys happy? Are you guys worried? Let me know all of that down below. I'll be reading all your comments, and make sure you guys are subscribed for all your cloud gaming needs and future Luna content on this channel. All right, I'm Sunny, and I'll see you guys in the cloud.